Some technical issue. Okay. Now, what is cyanosis? It's bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane due to increased concentration of reduced hemoglobin. That is more than 3 gram percent in arterial blood clots and more than 5 gram percent in capillary blood clots. There are different causes like CNS, hypoventilation, musculoskeletal system, poor muscle efforts, airway obstruction, alveolar capillary related issues like meconium aspiration syndrome, hemoglobinopathies like methemoglobinemia, and mainly cardiovascular that we'll discuss in detail. Now, cyanosis can be central or peripheral. How to differentiate that we'll discuss. It can be cardiac or respiratory. Usually cardiac cyanosis, peaceful cyanosis. You won't see any respiratory distress or respiratory hard efforts. So this is peaceful cyanosis. Next page. Now, how will you evaluate? Is the baby cyanosed? So first confirm it with your SpO2 machine. Always try to check SpO2 in your OPD because sometimes mild cyanotic CHDs are easily missed in our busy home. The cyanosis is central or peripheral, so keep the baby warm. Exercise and increase in temperature will remove peripheral cyanosis. Usually acrocyanosis is very common in neonatal age group. And is the cyanosis cardiac or respiratory? So if you see respiratory distress, then it's usually respiratory cause. And see the response to oxygen by hyperoxia test. What is hyperoxia test? Give 100% oxygen for 5 to 10 minutes and then check ABG. If your PO2 is more than 300, then it's respiratory. If your PO2 is less than 150 millimeter of mercury, then it's cardiac. ABG will show low pH, low PO2, low PCO2 in cardiac cause. Chest X-ray is very important. Look for heart size, whether heart size is normal or enlarged. In TOF-like physiology, heart size will be normal. In TGA, you will see agon-side appearance. In huge heart. Always look for pulmonary vascularity. Like in pulmonary venous hypertension, it's TAPVC. Mostly obstructed, as we have seen in intracardiac TAPVC. Usually they present on first day of life. If vascularity is normal, or if vascularity is normal or oligemic, usually it goes with TOF-like physiology or TGA. If TGA is associated with VSD, then increase pulmonary with agon-side appearance. And your TCG is very helpful because you will see RV or LV dominance. Like TOF physiology, there will be right axis deviation, there will be right ventricular hypertrophy associated with left ventricular hypertrophy. And in tricuspid atresia, you will see left axis deviation with dominant left heart forces, dilated LA, dilated LV. In AV septal defect, you will see left axis deviation. Okay. So ECG and X-ray, these two are very important things in evaluation of cyanotic baby. Next. Classification of cyanotic CHD. So you will divide into cyanotic CHD with reduced pulmonary blood flow, which includes tetralogy of Fallot, with pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia, then TOF-like physiology, which includes different complex cyanotic CHD like DORV, VSD, PS or pulmonary atresia, ventricular septal defect with VSD, with PS or pulmonary atresia. So these are TOF-like physiologies. Then critical pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia with intact ventricular septum, where you will see left shunting across interatrial septal defect, ASD or PFO. Then abstain anomaly. Usually abstain anomaly is associated with pulmonary stenosis, so you will see decreased pulmonary blood flow with large heart. In acidic CHD with reduced pulmonary blood flow, you will see low PaO2, oligemic lung fields, and neonates response to PG even. Next, please. Second is cyanotic CHD with increased pulmonary blood flow. It includes transposition of great arteries, TGA with intact ventricular septum. You will see normal pulmonary blood flow. TGA VSD, you will see increased pulmonary blood flow. Total anomalous pulmonary connection. There are different types: supracardiac, cardiac, and infracardiac. In infracardiac TAPVC, you will see mostly obstructed TAPVC, and there will be pulmonary venous hypertension. In supracardiac TAPVC, you will see figure of 8 appearance. You will see large bulge over heart in supracardiac region with increased pulmonary blood flow. And third is single ventricle with pulmonary stenosis or with pulmonary atresia. No, without pulmonary stenosis, this is increased pulmonary blood flow. Next is truncus arteriosus and double outlet right ventricle with unrestricted pulmonary blood flow. Okay.
Hello. Next is cyanotic CHD. Ready? Now we'll discuss clinical findings. Cyanotic CHD with decreased pulmonary blood flow. So usually top physiology, you will see quiet precordium. You won't see any hyperdynamic precordial or epigastric pulsation in top physiology. There will be single second heart sound because pulmonary stenosis or severe pulmonary stenosis will lead to very soft P2 component, which is usually not audible. In murmurs, you will listen to ejection systolic murmur at base of heart, or sometimes there won't be any murmur, like TGA with intact ventricular septum, or sometimes continuous murmur. When TOF is associated with pulmonary atresia, you will listen murmur of PDA or collaterals. On ECG, you will see right axis deviation plus right ventricular hypertrophy. In tricuspid atresia, as we have discussed, we'll see LV dominance. So there will be LV forces in leftward axis like V4, V5, V6. You will see tall R waves plus left axis deviation in tricuspid atresia because of dilated left atrium and left ventricle, plus AV canal defect with pulmonary stenosis. You will see left axis deviation, and single ventricle with pulmonary stenosis, you will see left axis deviation. In cyanotic CHD with increased pulmonary blood flow, you will see mild cyanosis. Saturation will be around 80 to 85%. There will be hyperdynamic precordium. You will see movement over chest or epigastrium. And they usually present with congestive heart failure because of increased pulmonary blood flow. Cough, cold, fever, tachypnea, tachycardia, usual presentation. Then single S2, except in TAPVC, where you will see wide splitting of S2 with loud P2 component. Whereas in the TGA, TOF, as we have discussed, we'll see only single second heart sound, which will be A2 component. You won't listen P2. In TGA, you will see profound cyanosis. Saturation can be below 70. Sometimes you will have to start prostacyclin for that to increase saturation of that baby. And there will be single second heart sound, which is because of anteriorly placed aorta. So you will listen only A2, no P2 will be heard. There won't be any murmur in case of intact septum, intact ventricular septum. And if VSD is present, then you will see ejection systolic murmur in case of TGA. There will be normal pulmonary blood flow or mildly increased lung vascularity on chest X-ray, usually right upper zone. Now, tetralogy with pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia, you will see large VSD there will be unrestricted VSD with RVOT obstruction or atresia. So pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia. These two are main component of TOF. Cyanosis depends on degree of obstruction, PDA, and collaterals. If PDA or if PDA is large or there are multiple collaterals, then you won't see severe cyanosis. Neonate may need PGE1 to maintain saturation, which we start at 5 to 10 nanogram per kg per minute, and we can increase it up to 100 nanogram per kg per minute. Sometimes they may need urgent BT shunt in neonatal period, that is Blalock Taussig shunt connection between pulmonary artery and aorta. There will be progressive cyanosis or spell. Usually, the cyanotic CHD kids present at 2 to 3 months of age with cyanotic spell, or sometimes around 6 months of age. And this TOF child needs correction at 1 year of age. Sometimes at 3 months of age, in US they are doing total correction at 3 months of age, whereas in India we do total correction at 1 year of age, that is VSD closure with RVOT resection. This chest X-ray shows pulmonary oligemia. This is cyanotic CHD with decreased pulmonary blood flow. So you won't see any pulmonary vascularity in lung field. Heart size is normal. So this is typical X-ray of TOF physiology, that is VSD pulmonary stenosis physiology. So normal heart with pulmonary oligemia. This is RV angiogram, CAT procedure, which shows TGA. So you will see large aorta on left side, which is arising from right ventricle, and parallel to that, on right side you will see pulmonary artery, which is bifurcating on your right side. So this is TGA with VSD. You can see VSD here. This is VSD. So on your left side, this is dilated aorta. On your right side is pulmonary artery, which is bifurcating. Now cyanotic spell. There will be rapid decrease in systemic oxygen saturation with hyperventilation, which leads to convulsion, coma, or death. This is cyanotic spell. And usual presentation is around 6 months. And cyanosis on crying is not a spell, but crying or exercise may trigger spell. Drop in SVR, systemic vascular resistance, or infundibular spasm leads to right to left shunt, which causes acidosis, which causes hyperventilation. So this is vicious cycle, which leads to cyanotic spell. Now here we will understand hypercyanotic spell physiology. On your left side, you can see cyanotic CHD with unrestricted VSD. This is VSD. This is your pulmonary artery, and you can see here infundibular stenosis. On your right side, this is infundibular spasm. So because of infundibular spasm, there won't be forward pulmonary blood flow, and blood from right ventricle goes into aorta, which causes cyanosis. So when child comes with cyanotic spell, there won't be any murmur. You won't listen any ejection systolic murmur. So you can confirm it on auscultation itself with severe cyanosis. And how will we treat it? So give knee chest position, give oxygen, morphine 0.1 mg per kg for sedation. It will depress respiratory and cardiac center. So first treat tachycardia and tachypnea by giving morphine. Give soda bicarb at 1 to 2 ml per kg and try to increase systemic vascular resistance by phenylephrine at 1 to 5 microgram per kg per minute, IV infusion. Sometimes we start vasopressin. Give propranolol at 0.1 mg per kg IV slowly. Stat. It will decrease heart rate. Or you can give metoprolol at 1 to 5 microgram per kg per minute. Sometimes we have to ventilate that child, or sometimes we'll have to send for emergency surgery, like BT shunt. You can give propranolol oral at 1 milligram per kilogram per dose, BD or TDS, for prophylaxis. Now, this figure shows modified Blalock Taussig shunt, that is BT shunt. You can see PTFE tube or graft is kept between left pulmonary artery and left subclavian artery here in this figure. This is your PTFE tube. This is BT shunt. This is modified BT shunt in which we keep PTFE tube. Initially, people used to do classic BT shunt. In that, left subclavian artery is directly connected to left pulmonary artery. So left upper limb circulation is compromised, but because of development of collaterals, there won't be any much problem to the child. But now we are doing PTFE BT shunt, modified BT shunt. Now TOF-like physiology, which includes double outlet right ventricle with pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia. They also present like TOF, and they also need BT shunt sometimes in emergency during neonatal period or early infancy period if they are duct dependent in case of pulmonary atresia. And total correction is needed at 1 year of age, in which VSD closure is done and right ventricle to pulmonary artery conduit is placed, RV to PA conduit. Second one is single ventricle with pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary atresia. In this, we have to judge the ventricle first, whether biventricular repair is possible or not. Because of hypoplastic ventricle and single ventricle physiology, we cannot do two ventricle repair in this case. So it will be stage procedure. In first stage, we do neonatal BT shunt. In second stage, we do gland shunt, that is connection between SVC and right pulmonary artery. And third stage is Fontan operation, in which we connect IVC to right pulmonary artery. First stage is done in early infancy, 3 to 6 months. Second stage is done 3 to 12 months. And third stage, Fontan, is done between 2 to 5 years of age. This is tricuspid atresia. You can see this is normal heart on left side. And on your right side, tricuspid atresia, which shows atretic tricuspid wall here, hypoplastic right ventricle, and here unrestricted ASD. Tricuspid atresia is associated with normally related great arteries or D Malpos great arteries or L Malpos great arteries. ASD, VSD, and pulmonary valve, these three, they regulate pulmonary blood flow. So tricuspid atresia can be associated with increased pulmonary blood flow if there is no PS, or decreased pulmonary blood flow if there is pulmonary stenosis. So pulmonary blood flow depends on ASD, VSD, and pulmonary stenosis. If tricuspid atresia is associated with decreased pulmonary blood flow, they will present with cyanosis, TOF-like complaints. And if tricuspid atresia is associated with increased pulmonary blood flow, they will present with heart failure, predominant presentation like VSD or PDA. In ECG, you will see LV dominance and left axis deviation. And management, as we have discussed, 3-stage approach. If if tricuspid atresia with decreased pulmonary blood flow, that is pulmonary stenosis, then first stage will be BT shunt. Second and third stage will be Glenn and Fontan. Whereas in tricuspid atresia with increased pulmonary blood flow, first stage will be different. It will be pulmonary artery banding, PA banding, to restrict pulmonary blood flow. Now this is ECG. You can see V4, V5, V6, tall R wave. In V1, deep S wave. Lead 1 and lead AVL, tall R wave. In AVR, you will see deep S wave. So LV forces are dominant here. So lead 1, V5, V6, AVL, you can see tall R wave. Okay. Now this is bidirectional Glenn shunt. Second stage for single ventricle physiology, in which SVC is connected to RPA, that is right pulmonary artery. And this is Fontan procedure, which is done between 2 to 5 years of age, in which you can see inferior vena cava, IVC, is connected to right pulmonary artery. In right atrium, we are using conduit, tube-like structure, to connect IVC to RPA. So you can see here, this is conduit. It can be intracardiac Fontan or extracardiac Fontan. Now this is critical PS or pulmonary atresia with intact ventricular septum. They usually present on day 1. And what is critical PS? Definition. So you will see right to left shunt at the level of interatrial septum. So pulmonary stenosis with right to left shunt at PFO is critical PS. If RV is adequate, then we can do balloon pulmonary valvulotomy, valvuloplasty, or BT shunt. And in future, we can send it for biventricular repair if needed. If right ventricle is hypoplastic or sometimes bipartite, there are 3 different, RV can be unipartite, bipartite, or tripartite. Our normal RV is tripartite. So inflow, outflow, and apical, all 3 portions are well developed in normal heart. So that is tripartite right ventricle. In that case, we can go for biventricular repair. In tricuspid atresia, we are saying this is hypoplastic RV. That means RV is only unipartite. Only there will be outflow portion. Because of atretic tricuspid valve, there won't be any inflow portion. There won't be any development of apical portion. So in unipartite RV, we are sending child for single ventricle repair. So that is Glenn plus Fontan pathway. Whereas in case of tripartite RV, we are sending for biventricular repair. Plus in bipartite RV, we can send for 1.5 ventricle repair. In that case, we'll do Glenn plus pulmonary valvotomy. Whereas in our conventional Glenn shunt, pulmonary artery is obstructed. So there won't be any forward flow across pulmonary valve. So 1.5 ventricle is Glenn plus pulmonary valvotomy. This figure shows pulmonary atresia with VSD. This is normal heart, intact septum. Here you can see this is fibrous cord-like structure, pulmonary atresia. So there is no development of MPA. This is right ventricle, which is tripartite, well developed. And here you can see this is RV dependent coronary circulation, RVDCC. So before sending for surgery like BT shunt or Glenn shunt, CT angiography is required in this child to rule out RV dependent coronary circulation. This is RV angiogram in lateral view. So this is pulmonary valve. You can see there is no forward flow. This is part of main pulmonary artery, and pulmonary valve is atretic here. So this white portion, this entire white portion is your right ventricle, and this tube-like structure is your catheter by which we are giving dye. Now we'll discuss Epstein anomaly. There is inferior displacement of septal and inferior tricuspid leaflets. There will be atrialization of RV. Epstein can be associated with pulmonary stenosis, or there can be normal pulmonary blood flow. Neonatal cyanosis may be severe. Saturation can be below 60% because of high pulmonary vascular resistance in neonate. So there will be severe TR with right to left shunt at atrial level, which is usually transient. So when pulmonary blood flow, pulmonary vascular resistance decreases around 2 to 3 weeks of age, at that time you will see there will be decrease in cyanosis, in severity of cyanosis. So sometimes we have to start sildenafil or diuretics in such children. Sometimes they can be asymptomatic, sometimes they can present with right heart failure, or sometimes because of right atrial dilatation, they may present with SVT. If neonate present with severe cyanosis or heart failure, sometimes surgery is required in such children. If there is history of SVT, they have generally good effort tolerance because RV compliance is very good. Cardiomegaly, you can see cardiomegaly with cardiothoracic ratio of more than 0.7, sometimes up to 0.8 or 0.9. On auscultation, you will listen multiple heart sound. There will be splitting of S1, splitting of S2, opening snare, third heart sound, fourth heart sound. So auscultation is very difficult in Epstein. But if you listen multiple heart sound, you can easily guess for Epstein. There will be scratchy systolic murmur at left lower sternal border. On X-ray, as we have discussed, there will be huge cardiomegaly. ECG shows right atrial enlargement. And sometimes they can be associated with WPW syndrome. You can see here, this is septal leaflet of tricuspid valve, which is tethered to interventricular septum. There will be severe tethering and downward displacement of septal tricuspid valve leaflet. This is anterior tricuspid valve leaflet. Usually ATL is free, but sometimes it can be tethered to right ventricular free valve. So Epstein anomaly is divided into 3 types depending on the tethering of septal tricuspid leaflet, anterior tricuspid valve leaflet, and functional RV. This X-ray shows huge cardiomegaly, PTR of almost 0.9, and this is right atrium, occupying almost 5 intercostal spaces on right side. You can see pulmonary blood flow is decreased, which is in favor of pulmonary stenosis. Now, cyanotic CHD with increased pulmonary blood flow. We'll discuss TGA. Usually, they will present on day 1. TGA with intact ventricular septum. This is usually duct-dependent pulmonary circulation. We need some connection between right and left side of heart, either ASD, either VSD, or PDA for survival of the baby. In TGA, aorta arises from right ventricle, pulmonary artery from left ventricle, and TGA with intact septum will present on day 1 with cyanosis, and TGA with VSD will present with frequent cough, cold, and congestive heart failure like symptoms. On X-ray, you can see agon side appearance with normal vascularity in case of TGA with intact septum, and with increased vascularity in case of TGA with VSD. If untreated, TGA babies 90% will die in first month if there is no ASD or restrictive PFO. So we start PGE1 till balloon atrial septostomy is done. Balloon atrial septostomy is bridging procedure. So if we don't have time for arterial switch operation and we are in periphery where surgical facility is not available, we can do balloon atrial septostomy. It can be done on bedside in neonatal ICU, and by increasing saturation, we'll get some time for transport of the baby to Apex Institute. And in first 2 weeks, usually arterial switch operation is done in TGA with intact septum babies. After arterial switch operation, they have good long-term prognosis. Here we can see on your left side, this is normal heart. So crisscross aorta and pulmonary artery, they are crossing each other. And on your right side, you will see TGA. Aorta and pulmonary artery, both are parallel to each other. This is TGA with intact ventricular septum. So you can see here ASD, where blood is mixing. This is agon side appearance in TGA with normal pulmonary blood flow. This is narrow pedicle at base. Is echocardiography, which shows aorta on your left side, which is arising from right ventricle. And this is pulmonary artery parallel to aorta on your right side, which is arising from left ventricle. Now TGA with VSD with unrestricted pulmonary blood flow. So cyanosis is minimal. Saturation can be around 80-85%. They will present with congestive heart failure, and they will need arterial switch operation in first 3 months of life. Sometimes we'll have to start diuretics like oral syrup, furopate. TGA VSD PS may need BT shunt if cyanosis is severe and not improving on PGE1. Sometimes Rastelli operation is done at 3 to 5 years of age. VSD closer with RV2 PA conduit. Now TAPVC. All 4 pulmonary veins join to form a common chamber, which eventually reaches right atrium. It can be divided into supracardiac, cardiac, infracardiac, and mixed variety. Supracardiac is common variety, which drains into innominate vein or superior vena cava, sometimes at SVCRA junction. Cardiac variety drains into coronary sinus or right atrium directly. Infracardiac or infradiaphragmatic, which is usually obstructed. There will be descending vein, which drains into pulmonary vein or ductus venosus, and then IVC. Here you can see supracardiac TAPVC, connection with innominate vein, which is draining into right SVC and then right atrium. In supracardiac TAPVC, obstruction can be at the level of vertical vein, innominate vein, SVC, innominate vein junction, or sometimes at the level of PFO. If pattern foramen oval is very small or restrictive, it will be obstructed supracardiac TAPVC. Obstructed venous return will present with pulmonary edema, usually on day 1 in case of infracardiac TAPVC, and we'll have to send baby for immediate surgery. After surgery, they will have normal lifespan. Prognosis is very good. This single stage surgery, like TGA. Unobstructed, like some supracardiac and cardiac, we can wait for 2 to 3 months, and we can start simple diuretics like syrup furoped or sometimes aldactone, and we can wait for 2-3 months if baby's weight is not good. If obstructed, then we'll have to send for early surgery. This is infracardiac TAPVC. You can see descending vein which is going below diaphragm, and pulmonary venous hypertension here on both sides of lung. Is supracardiac TAPVC, figure of 8 appearance with increased pulmonary blood flow. You can see here on both sides of lungs. So cardiomegaly with figure of 8 appearance with pulmonary plethora. Now we'll discuss persistent truncus arteriosus. So saturation will be mild in this case. A single arterial trunk leaves the heart above VSD, and pulmonary artery will arise from that common trunk in case of type 1. Sometimes it arises from descending thoracic aorta. Sometimes there will be two separate pulmonary arteries. There won't be any confluence between right and left pulmonary arteries. So truncus arteriosus can be divided into 3 types depending on the origin of pulmonary artery. They'll present with congestive heart failure in first few weeks of life, mild cyanosis, saturation will be around 80 to 85%, and they'll present with frequent cough, cold, fever, or tachypnea, tachycardia. There will be bounding pulses, hyperdynamic chest, and ejection systolic murmur of 2 or 3/6 at left upper sternal border. If truncal wall regurgitation is present, then there will be early diastolic murmur. And chest X-ray will show cardiac enlargement with high origin of pulmonary arteries with increased pulmonary vascularity, that is pulmonary plethora. Surgical repair is usually done in first month of life. This is truncus arteriosus. This is normal heart on left side. On right side, you can see this is large VSD, subtruncal VSD. This is common trunk, from which you can see here main pulmonary artery is arising and bifurcating into right and left pulmonary arteries. And this is main trunk is continuing as aorta. Now cyanotic CHD in older children and adults. TOF is the commonest cyanotic CHD with reduced pulmonary blood flow surviving into adulthood. After that comes double outlet right ventricle, which is also TOF physiology. They will present with exertional dyspnea and squatting, and there will be varying degree of cyanosis depending on the level of collaterals. Eisenmenger syndrome is there will be history of recurrent respiratory infection in early childhood, good effort tolerance till late in natural history. They'll present with mild cyanosis, sometimes differential cyanosis in case of PDA with Eisenmengerization, and there will be finding of severe pulmonary arterial hypertension. Eisenmenger VSD will present usually in second decade. There will be single S2, heart size will be normal, and dilated central pulmonary arteries, that is hilar PS, and there will be peripheral pruning. So in periphery, in lateral third of X-ray, you won't see any pulmonary vascular markings. In Eisenmenger PDA, which usually presents in second or third decade, there will be differential cyanosis due to right to left shunt at the level of ductus. So in lower limb, you will see clubbing, cyanosis. In upper limb, saturation will be different. There will be pink. So there will be normal splitting of S2 on auscultation with loud P2 component, and heart size will be normal. So in VSD and PDA, heart size will become normal, whereas in case of ASD, you will see large heart. There will be same dilated central pulmonary arteries with peripheral pruning. In ASD, as I told you, there will be large heart, cardiomegaly, with wide splitting of S2, and they may present with atrial fibrillation due to right atrial dilatation. And usually Eisenmengerization in ASD presents in fourth or fifth decade. Now we are finishing with cyanotic CHD. If you have any query or any question, we can discuss it.
Right, very nice presentation. I'm Dr. Agrawal. I'm one of the pediatrician in Australia.
Good afternoon, sir.
I've been
Thank you, sir.
associated with, hello.
Yes,
I've been with Nirmal from time to time.
Yes, sir.